I can't believe it. Sonic won again. Back at the Game Awards, we had Shadow tease a new Sonic racing game, and when it got fully revealed at the State of Play in February, holy crap, a new Sonic game that actually looked good. We had amazing tracks backed by amazing music with Extreme Gear and the Babylon Rogues coming back for the first time since 2010. We had the transforming sections from Sonic and All-Stars Racing coming back. It looked to be the definitive Sonic racing game. I was immediately sold. However, it wouldn't be a Sonic game without its controversy. Not only was Sonic Racing Crossworlds seemingly competing with one of the most anticipated Mario Kart games of all time, it also was announced to be the first $70 Sonic game, along with it having a $90 digital deluxe edition. However, all that controversy seemed to vanish as soon as the game was releasing. Mario Kart World ended up being a letdown to many, with its many intermission tracks not really offering valuable gameplay to most people playing the game, and being forced to play those intermission tracks online instead of 3-lap tracks turned many people away. On top of that, when it comes to the price controversy, people collectively remembered that every Sega game in existence goes on sale. On top of that, we had the open network test, which really gave this game a shot in the arm, because everyone collectively realized how much fun the gameplay was. On top of that, they announced that there would be crossovers in the game, which got people who were fans of other franchises like Hatsune Miku, Minecraft, SpongeBob, and Persona to give this one a try. For once, it felt kind of good to be a Sonic fan. It felt like we were finally getting a complete, fun, and polished game with post-launch support, so it won't die out like TSR. Launch day couldn't come any sooner. Then the game finally came out, and holy crap, it is everything I thought it would be, so let's talk about it. This game's roster succeeds in every possible way. There's not a single character which was in a previous game which I want to be here who isn't already. We have the obvious picks like the Genesis characters in Shadow, but on top of that we have other characters like Silver, Blaze, the Babylon Rogues, Zavok, and Zaz are here as well. Even someone like Eggpon, who at first seems like a joke character, even makes sense due to his appearances in the Riders games. On top of that, we have the crossover characters. Some people are not a fan of these additions, as they would rather have more Sonic characters, as it is a Sonic game after all. However, I'm fine with the addition of crossovers. The thing is, crossovers have been a part of Sonic games as far back as Sonic Riders in 2006. Whether it's Sega characters in Riders, or Wreck-It Ralph in Transformed, there's always been crossovers of all types in these games, and the ones they're including are really cool in my opinion. Miku, Joker, Knight, Steve, Pac-Man, and Mega Man are all insanely cool additions to the roster. On top of that, there's still more to be announced. I'm so excited to see what characters are going to come into this game. I'm personally excited to see potentially II, Klonoa, or Beat. My only problem with the roster is that they could have gone crazier with the picks, the obvious choices being Infinite and Mephiles, before I have some lore-obsessed, no-life Sonic fans swarm me in the comments. Bro, I don't think the Werehog, Nine, or SpongeBob make sense in the canon either. It's a spin-off, so get crazy, and give me Surge, Trip, or Styx, or something like that. The gameplay is so close to absolute perfection. The game perfects the arcade style of racers. The handling is tight, the speed of the vehicles feels good, and the drifting is so satisfying. The item play is also really good for the most part. Most of the items in this game have a Mario Kart equivalent. The only difference I'd say makes a difference are the items that come down from a red ring. Basically, there are multiple items that are sent down from a red ring, which are Slime, which is basically just a blooper, Anvils, which is a blooper but you get squished, and the Dark Chow. The Dark Chow gives you 2 different items at random. This could be really useful if you don't have any items. However, if you have a White Wisp and want to take a shortcut with it, you could end up losing it and get a useless item instead. On top of that, if you smuggle an item into first place and then get the Dark Chow, you could end up losing that item pretty easily and get first place garbage items instead, which I think is really cool. On top of all of that, you can block every red ring item with a defense item. So if you have one defense item and end up blocking the Dark Chow, you could left defenseless with no items for a while, which adds a pretty cool element of strategy, because you could choose not to block it, but more often than not you'll end up getting hit, or you could try dodging it and then are left with nothing and get destroyed by the people behind you. However, what makes the gameplay so good is the amount of customization you get. Starting with the obvious, the vehicle customization is so good. This is not something I was expecting to say, because when vehicle customization was in Mario Kart, I didn't really care about it. It just felt like it took longer to pick a kart, and I was fine with going back to pre-built karts in the Mario Kart world. However, Crossworlds made me realize that both can work in tandem. Every character has their own pre-built kart, with a few extra pre-built karts being thrown in there. However, you can combine parts of these cars together with things like the front, back, and wheels. Not only that, you can change the colors, add stickers, give it its own aura and horn sound effects. It's the amount of customization Mario Kart was afraid to give us. It actually made me want to spend time in the garage and fine-tune my vehicle to be exactly how I want it. On top of that, you can customize how you want your gameplay to be with the gadget system. You get 6 gadget slots, and you can fill them up with so many different gameplay perks. Whether it's getting your drifts out faster, having a drift that makes you spin around, getting a boost from bumping into enemies, doing air tricks faster, having a monster truck at the start of Apatos and making blood rain down from the streets. The amount of customization you get from almost everything in this game is insane. It feels so limiting going back to something like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. This is all without taking into account the actual games. The tracks in this game are peak track design. Each track can take place in multiple different pieces of terrain. You can be on land or sea or air. Each area controls differently as well. The ground controls normally. In the sea, the drift is changed to act like a charge jump, which can be used to grab rings and item boxes or take shortcuts. And in the air, your drift allows you to move up and down and all around. No matter where you're driving, the game controls well. No matter what, but that's all without taking into account the main gimmick of the game, the Crossworlds. At the start of the second lap of each race, first place gets to choose a Crossworld to go to. It basically transfers you to a new track to race on. This is an insanely smart mechanic. It's almost like driving to other tracks in Mario Kart, but remove the boring driving to another track, because it's all instant. This shake-up each second lap is amazing because it's a nice way to bring some variety to each race. It also makes every playthrough of a course somewhat different. You could play the same course 5 times in a row and have different outcomes based on the crossworld you end up going to. On top of that, the final lap of the original course has different shortcuts open up, and having more powerful dash pads and item capsules placed around the stage, making it different from the first lap. These differences each lap are so cool and make doing each lap so much better compared to any other racing game I've played. The tracks themselves are also very memorable. We have so many references to almost every Sonic game. Metal Harbor from SA2, Apatos from Sonic Unleashed, Hidden World from Sonic Lost World, Kronos Island from Sonic Frontiers, and so many others. However, not all the tracks are just references, and that is great. While references to previous locations are cool, comparing it to something like Mario Kart, if we had all references for every Mario Kart track, we wouldn't have iconic courses like Coconut Mall, Cheese Land, Ribbon Road, Baby Park, DK Summit, Waluigi Pinball, or Waluigi Stadium, or even arguably the most iconic Mario Kart track ever, Rainbow Road. So the fact that we have many original courses is amazing. E-Stadium, Rainbow Garden, Eggman Expo, Chow Park, and Aqua Forest are all so good. Their theming is great, and their track design is also insanely good. In fact, I would say there's one bad track in this whole package, being Magma Planet. Other than that, every track in the game is at least good. Even stuff like the beginning tracks, which usually would be the most simple, have different alternate routes and depth that warrant a replay compared to other tracks. I'd say every track warrants a replay. There is so much content in this game. So much to the point where I would still recommend picking up this game even as a single player game. In the Grand Prix mode, you get put against a rival, which you can adjust the difficulty of in the settings. These rivals are amazing because each character has its own different dialogue, differing on the character's history with each other. Defeating every rival unlocks Supersonic as a playable character. However, it's not an amazing unlockable. Supersonic just doesn't take any damage from items, so basically, unless you're a wimp or a 5-year-old, you're not picking Supersonic, unless you want to mess around for like 2 seconds. However, a lot of the meat comes from the race park. Here you get to race against AI versions of the cast in multiple different game modes, whether it's standard races or team-based races with unique rules. Defeating the rivals unlocks multiple different car parts, which is really cool. These rivals on higher difficulties can be really challenging as well. On top of that, there's a friendship system. Basically, this game has a currency system called tickets. You gain these tickets from completing races or doing objectives. These tickets can be spent on car parts, but you are going to mainly use them in the friendship section. Basically, you choose a character to donate to and get rewards based on that character, whether it's banners, stickers, titles, or the main attraction being the AI racer skins. They take quite a few tickets to obtain, so it might take a while to get them all, and could keep me busy for quite a lot of hours. While it could potentially get monotonous after a while, where I'm currently at, I'm grinding races anyway for countless hours, so it doesn't feel too grindy yet. There's also a jukebox in this game. This allows you to change out the music for each lap to fit whatever you want. This is really cool in my opinion, and should be a staple in most kart racers. This is also without connecting online, by the way. There's so much content without even having to connect to the internet, giving you so much to do offline. However, when we move to online, it's just how you would expect it to be. You connect up and race. There's no problems. It's exactly how online should be. However, there will sometimes be online festivals. These usually happen with the introduction of a new character. You get split up into teams and have to compete in team-based events. Winning will give you different rewards based on that character and tickets. This is really cool and almost reminds me of a Splatfest from Splatoon. It also is really promising that Sega is continually updating the game and giving reasons to come back. The only problem I have with the festival system is that you can't access basic world matches when festivals are active. That's so stupid. However, I can excuse it for now. Considering Sonic Team has never really made an online game with events like these to my knowledge, their servers might not be able to currently hold both world matches and festivals at the same time. However, if they still aren't able to fix this after a while, then it truly is a drawback that this game has. The presentation of this game is amazing, on anything but the Switch. And guess which version of the game I got? Mainly because I wanted to play it portably. But also since I have a Switch 2, I can just get the Switch 2 upgrade whenever that comes out later this year. However, the Switch version isn't that bad. While graphics age, art style is timeless, and the art style holds up. Basically, in short, the PS5 version, or just any other version, has an amazing presentation with a great art style, and is optimized insanely well, and is just good looking all around. However, the Switch version is the same game, and while looking and running worse, still looks pretty good taking into context that it is running on hardware equivalent to hardware from 20 years ago. However, when it comes to the soundtrack, it's great no matter what platform you are on. While some people aren't a fan of the soundtrack, I personally think it delivered big time. Songs like North Star Island's Final Lap, Sky Road, E Stadium, Kronos Island Final Lap, and Sweet Mountain are all amazing songs. Even the opening theme, while a little cheesy, is still pretty good overall in my opinion. Okay, this game overall is amazing. The roster is almost everything I could ever want, the gameplay is amazing, the track design is great, the amount of customization in the game is insane, you can play the game almost however you want, the amount of content in the game is also insane with so much to do, whether you're alone or with friends. It has an amazing presentation, all topped off by the fact that this game is promised to get a mix of free and paid DLC for at least a year, with promises of potentially getting a second and third year depending on how well the game does. This is how you create a multiplayer game. Sonic Team truly hit it out of the park with this one. It's so exciting to see how we are finally getting hit after hit with the increased budget Sonic has had recently. If the game we get in 2026 ends up being just as good as this one, we might finally be able to say that Sonic is back, and for real this time. I have to give Sonic Racing Crossworlds a 9.5 out of 10. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I make content like this all the time, so make sure to check out some of my other videos as well. But that's all from me. See you guys later. Peace.